Congratulations. You've just completed your PhD. You've gone through 4 to 6 years of rigorous training. You've become an expert in something. You've learned how to design and troubleshoot and analyze experiments and interpret data. You've learned how to read the literature and to ask brilliant new questions that emerge from that. You've learned how to persevere and how to deal with failure, ultimately to come through with resounding success. You are at the top of the most highly educated, most highly skilled young adults in society. And so now you're heading to the next stage of your career progression. You're going to do a postdoc. A postdoc is not a job. If it were a job, we'd pay you better and give you retirement benefits. A postdoc is for training experience and a transition to that real job. So what I want to tell you today is how to get the most out of that postdoc and how to do it in the most efficient amount of time. The situation now is that people are taking longer to get their PhDs and their postdocs and to move into new jobs. And that works for a principal investigator because we can keep these skilled researchers in our labs. But it doesn't work so well for you. So what I want to do is to try to empower you to have expectations of yourself and expectations of your mentor that are met to ensure that you can go through this postdoc training and transitional period to emerge at the end ready to move into successfully to compete on the job market for that career position you're looking for. Few of us as mentors, as principal investigators, were ever taught how to run a lab or how to mentor individuals through this training process. We each have learned by example from our own mentors and our own experiences. Those examples have been good or bad or in between, but we don't really have any formal training. And so I took a class last year, or in the last 2 years, on leadership training, and I want to share with you one of the most important things I learned about leadership and situational leadership that I think can help you as postdocs move through this transitional period more effectively. And I want you to mentor up. That is, I want you to think about these techniques and ask and help your mentor to apply them in your own training. So let's think about situational leadership. Basically, fundamentally, it means that for each task and for each individual, you go through a learning curve. That learning curve can be pretty prescriptive. That is, at the beginning, let's say the first couple of months in your new postdoc position, you're very excited, you're very committed, you've finished your PhD, you're an expert, you're moving into a new lab, you're excited about the project, and your commitment level is very high, you're enthusiastic. But you are moving into a new situation, new skills are required, new techniques have to be learned, so your skill and competence level is low. At this stage, you're an enthusiastic beginner. Month or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5 into your postdoc, things aren't working, the experiments aren't going well, you become a little discouraged. So your commitment and motivation is going to drop as you hit that wall of realizing that things are not as easy as you hoped they would be. You are still, however, slowly acquiring the new skills and competence that you need to ultimately be successful. At this stage, you're a disillusioned learner. As that skill level continues to rise, ultimately to where you need it to be, your commitment now can increase. But there are setbacks, as always, and your confidence, your self-confidence, your motivation can waver during this stage when you're a capable but cautious performer. Ultimately, you're successful, your experiments worked, you've learned the new skills that you need to learn, you're beginning to be able to communicate your results effectively, and to talk about and exude expertise in your new chosen field. And once again, your commitment level goes up. You can see that if I were to use the same kind of leadership style for people at these different developmental stages, it wouldn't be very effective. If I took you as an enthusiastic beginner and just let you loose in the lab and said, good luck, I'll see you in a year, that wouldn't be successful. If I took you as a self-reliant achiever who can accomplish the task at hand, but I didn't challenge you and push you to be better, then you would plateau and perhaps not achieve the highest level that you could possibly have. Or if I continue to be directive and to tell you on a daily basis what I expect you to do, you're going to be a very frustrated worker. So clearly there needs to be different leadership styles for each of these stages and progressions. That's where we talk about what the mentor needs to do and how you as a mentee can help impart this information and ask for this kind of support from your mentorship. The types of leadership styles differ in how directive the behavior is. That is, are you instructing day to day on the types of experiments to be done? Are you putting that person in touch with who they need to work with to learn a new skill, to acquire a new methodology? Are you outlining the experimental plans and the controls and what needs to be done? Or are you low directive, letting them take over the project on their own? This, of course, will vary depending on the skill level and commitment of the trainee. On this axis, we have supportive, where you're low or high. Again, as a new enthusiastic beginner, I don't really need to be a cheerleader as a mentor. Rather, I can let you and your own enthusiasm take over. Rather, I need to help you focus that enthusiasm and do the right tasks at the right time to get those short-term victories. In contrast, when things are not working and your confidence level is wavering, that's when I need to be more supportive. That's when I need to listen and understand where your problems are coming from, why you're demotivated, and how I can help to move you out of that cycle of wavering commitment back to that self-reliant achiever. So what might this look like for you as the mentee? At the beginning of your postdoc, you want to be in there talking to your advisor on a regular basis. You want to ask ahead of time what experiments you should be doing, what should you be doing first, how should you prioritize your time. You want to write that research proposal where you really try to look 3 years out and get a sense of the project and where it might go and what its potential is, and use as much of your mentor's time as you can at the beginning to get explicit instructions of what needs to happen. At that same time at the beginning, be talking about your expectations, what it is you're trying to accomplish. Give a time frame of that. Think about where you want to be and when you want to be there, and bring your mentor on board so that the two of you can be partnering for your success. What does this look like? Now you're doing experiments, now you're getting results. Now you can come to your mentor in a more organized fashion with real questions that you have to ask of her. Ask those questions, seek advice, get input, and have a back and forth again on the details of what you're doing so that you're not stumbling. You want to do this as soon as you can, as soon as you start stumbling, not waiting 4 or 5 or 6 weeks of banging your head against the wall. That's going to make your commitment waver and your ability to accomplish your task drop. So engage your mentor in a coaching activities at this stage. What does this supportive behavior look like as you go through this capable and cautious? There you want to be sharing with your advisor the successes that you've had and the good results, and then coming in with with the problem. So this is working, this isn't working. Now you're partnering together. You're more on a working, collaborating and discussing the experiments, the results and the interpretation. Seek feedback. How am I doing? Is this going the way it should be going? Am I on the right track? Are there other skills I need to learn to accomplish these goals? Go back and forth. Use your advisor at this stage in their supportive behavior as a sounding board, not only for experimental advice, but also for career advice. What does this look like as a self-reliant achiever? Now you're looking for more independence. You want to show off your skills and training ability by passing that knowledge on to incoming graduate students and incoming postdocs, by going to meetings and presenting talks and presenting posters. You want your mentor, however, to be challenging you, pushing you, focusing you, helping you to set and meet timelines for publication, for job applications, for job searches. Have them pushing you a little bit all the way along. So the delegating stage isn't a hands-off mentorship stage, but it's one where now you're working together closer as peers to push and inspire and motivate you to go to even higher levels. So think about these things, your different developmental stages and where you might be with each different task. You may be a self-reliant achiever when it comes to doing experiments, but to prepare and write that paper, you may be back here as an enthusiastic beginner, and you need to go back to your mentor and say, okay, now I need you to help me do this. Thank you for getting me here. Now we're back here with this task. Think about where you are, think about what you need from your mentor, and work together, partner together to be successful and to move through this career training as efficiently and as straight a path as you possibly can. So the message here is one size doesn't fit all, and you want to convey that message to your mentor, and you want to think about that for yourself. In one size doesn't fit all, you may not get all that you need from a single mentor. So think about getting help from other faculty members and other colleagues that you know in your department or your institute. Don't forget about your peers, that senior postdoc that's going through this or has already gone through these same stages, or our partner in your lab that's one of your peers. Ask for critical feedback. Make sure you're asking people, what are my weaknesses, identifying those, because you really need to improve on your weaknesses. It does you no good to be patted on the back for your strengths. You want to improve all the time and reach the highest level you can possibly reach. Match your career goals with your passions and your abilities, and assess those abilities together with your mentor to make sure that your career goals are aligned with those. Finally, once again, congratulations. Go to work and use partner with your mentor for your own success.